Good day, Michael here. So I'm doing a follow-up video this morning on the cutting tests because Christian has been doing his own tests and getting different results. He's got a different rope. He's also got a different cutting board. So I thought I'd rerun the test this morning and use a pine cutting board, and I'm going to try and do the cut test with as little cuts on the board as I can to see if I get a better result. Just to see if it makes a difference, because in doing these cut tests on a board instead of doing cardboard you've got no resistance against the board. You're just cutting into the cardboard, that's it. It's pure abrasive cuts. But you have to do a lot of them, like 600-700 feet. We're trying to reduce that by cutting rope, so it's a quicker result. But the problem we have is in the scientific method, and that method involves cutting through the rope onto the board. So if you're putting more pressure on the rope, more pressure into the cuts on the board, you're going to wear away the edge on the actual board. I'm using a hard wood for my test, so how much of that performance is in the abrasive cutting on the rope? How much is actually cutting into the wood? I think this wood is a significant factor in the cuts. As long as you're doing the same amount of pressure into the board every single time, you're going to get a consistent result. But if you're not, your results are not going to be consistent. They're not going to be based on scientific method, and it's going to be erroneous. So today I'm going to put that to the test a little bit. I still think the overall results tell you what is a proper and good steel. This brother knife is made of Chinese D2. Does it hold up to the American D2? Or is it something very inferior? And I believe it's very inferior, and the tests have shown it. And I think Christian's results, just in his first test, also show what a good steel can do and what a poor steel does. And he could hardly even cut through the rope with the poor steel, whereas the Ganzo and the rake knife could easily cut through it. And it was a good result for that steel. But today I'm going to just test the cutting board to see if it makes much of a difference. Now, last time I used this Scandi blade, it got 10 cuts, I believe, and I've put an edge to 25 degrees, so it's got a little bit more stability on the edge. Let's see if it is sharp for the test, because I just sharpened it. Okay, so as you can see, very sharp, and it's shaving sharp as well. You can see it's easily shaving sharp. Not a problem there. So, without further ado, let's see our 10 cuts and see how much damage we've got on the edge, and if it cuts. I'll try and get the cut the same. I haven't got the pen with me. Try and get it in about the same place, because if you test too much of your blade, again, it's too variable. We want to keep the cut span small and in the same place. So I'll just find a good spot on here to cut, and hopefully cut about the same place every time. So there's no way that you cannot cut into the board to try and cut through the rope. But what we want to try and do is be consistent, either try and eliminate it altogether or be consistent into how much of the board you're cutting into each time. So you can see after 10 cuts this time, see, it's still got a slight hiccup. Not much. Yeah. So it's definitely 10 cuts. Could be just a bit of dirt on that edge. So this is pine, that's 10 cuts. Maybe it is the board. Maybe I'm cutting too hard into the board, Christian. Right, so that's another 10 cuts, and I've been very careful not to put a lot of pressure on it, just let the edge do the cutting, not to put the cut into the board. And that is making quite a big difference, actually. There's still a slight hiccup there at one spot. It's gliding through, so that's 20 cuts on that. It's a bit dirty on the edge. So maybe I'm just putting too much pressure and that is the difference. So there's another 10. So that's 30. A little bit more grabby there, but still cutting. So it is a bit of a hiccup there, but working a lot better than my initial cut on the hardwood and cutting with force. Now I'm going to do 10 more the way that I was doing it with quite some force. So that's 30 cuts, and it's reasonably well performing. So now let me put real pressure on like I was before. Actually, yeah. I'll get my other board. Excuse me for a sec. So this is the hardwood board now, and I'm going to put the real pressure on that cut like I have been doing and see if the performance really goes downhill. Good day and welcome back. So I got called away and I had to stop the video and do a second video. So I can hardly remember where I'm at, but I think I just did 10 hard cuts with the old board just to see how that went. And I think I'm up to a total of 30 cuts. I'll have to check it later. So you can see that it's got a bit of a hiccup there now, right there, where I've been doing most of the cutting. And I'd call it on that because of that hiccup. And I can see where it's starting to glint. So I would say that the way that I'm doing this, I'm putting a lot of pressure on the board, cutting through and snapping into that wood. And I think that's, see, I'm putting a lot of pressure on that, cutting into the board as well. And I think that's why my count is so low. And I could do it a lot more careful in what I've been doing and just try and slice through it slowly and methodically. But I've been trying to get through these videos as quick as I can. That's definitely went in there now. See how much more force I'm putting on that? And I think, Christian, that's why the results are so different. It's just the amount of force I'm putting onto that rope and into the board, and it's vastly reducing the cut. So what I think you're actually doing is probably a lot more consistent and accurate than me cutting down, but it just gave me a faster result. So I reckon you should stick with what you're doing. Try and not cut into that board and just keep it consistent on the rope. And like the cardboard, that will get the best results. For me, I was putting a lot of pressure on going into the board and it was reducing everything right down. Probably not as accurate, but I think accurate enough to show what is quality steel and what is not. So there you have it, and hopefully, I'm having trouble with the internet, but I'll hopefully get that uploaded today and have a bit more chat about this. Righto, bye for now.